So as you can see on the screen, the Scholarly Snippets workshop is being recorded. By continuing to be in the workshop, you are consenting to be recorded. And as you can see, all recordings will be available at this link afterwards. So today we are talking about Refworks, which is a citation manager software. A bit of an overview about this workshop. This is a series to help you advance your research skills and support your scholarly activities. Specifically for this workshop, I want participants to know how to use, to save articles, create bibliographies, and utilize Refworks to create in-text citations. So a brief overview of Refworks before we do a deep dive into Refworks. It is, again, like I said, it's a citation management software. It allows you to import citations, organize citations into folders, share citations with other people who also have Refworks accounts, create bibliographies, and create easy in-text citations. A quick note about why we cite, because after all, I am a librarian. We cite because we want to acknowledge the debt to those who come before, those who helped us find our way. And additionally, I always find this interesting piece of trivia. Plagiarism is actually derived from the Latin word meaning kidnapper, which I thought was a very interesting idea of what plagiarism actually is. It's kidnapping other people's ideas. So let's go ahead and get started with Refworks. So depending on your library, every library will have a different way of accessing it. For PCOM, we go to the main library website and click on it. And I'm going to go ahead and log in. So with Refworks, there are a few different ways of importing citations. You can upload a PDF directly into Refworks. You can mass import from a database such as PubMed. Say, for example, you can select up to 5 documents and import them like that. You can create manual references, and literally it's just entering all the data as much as you know. There is also a tool called Save to Refworks, which if you don't have installed, this is a bookmark. And to find, if you don't have it installed, you would go to Tools and Tools, click on the Save to Refworks. And then you would literally just drag and drop up. As you can see, I already do have it saved in Refworks. Go away. I'm just going to create a new tab. And I'm just going to show you the utility of it. I'm going to search for evidence-based medicine. Okay. So say this is the article that I want to import. I would click on Save to Refworks. The first time you click on this, it will ask you to log on to this pop-up screen. It just syncs it right to your account. And I always double check to make sure it's importing correctly, whether it's journal or type of reference, the title, the authors, all looks good. And then you can literally just click on Save to Refworks. If you want to go ahead and assign it to a folder, you can do so right then and there. Click on Import. And then you can either close your sidebar or go ahead and view this straight in Refworks. So as you can see, this is the resource that I had. It's all imported very, very quickly and pretty accurately overall. I will say that if there are ever things like accent marks, Refworks does sometimes struggle with that, so it won't import that always correctly. But 97% of everything is normally imported correctly into Refworks. So really quickly, that is the Save to Refworks bookmark. If you do have a PDF, say for example, I'm just going to download this really quickly, just because of limited time constraints. If I did have a PDF, I could actually, let me just upload this. And as you can see here, that was a PDF I had saved. It's just uploading it. I know a lot of faculty members who already have PDFs uploaded. And the nice thing about uploading an entire PDF is that the document is now saved in the cloud. So if you're working from multiple computers, like a lot of faculty are, as they are working from either a mixture of home and in the office, they can then read the article straight in Refworks. One thing to keep in mind is that if you are someone who's doing a lot of research, as you can see, I have 250 references, and I would consider myself, not nearly as serious a researcher as a lot of faculty. The best way to keep everything organized is to create all these folders, and you can create as many folders as you want. You can create subfolders, and you can add folders by either clicking on this add folder here. You can also, select in this list here. I'm just in the all references. You can then assign here, create, and I really recommend people to create as many, sometimes by project, sometimes by subject, really just to find an organization system that works for them. And it does make a difference in the back end. So for example, if you are doing Intext citations, it makes a difference because when you are looking to cite your references, if you've organized them into folders, it makes it easier to find them on the back end. So let me go into here, and I'm just going to show you how to assign. You can drag and drop like so. These are now under the example folder, as you can see here. We have this little examples icon here. If I wanted to share a folder, you can share in multiple ways. The first is to click on this ... here and click on share settings. In this case, you can see that I have shared this with my coworker Erica, and I can actually control what they can do in this folder, if they can just read, if they can annotate, or if they can modify. So if you are working on a project with someone else and you want to both be doing research on the back end and just finding articles, you can create an open folder where both of you can be importing into the folder and both of you can be citing from the same folder, which is very useful. You can also create a public URL. This can be useful for, say, you are doing a poster and you're a little limited in room on your poster, so you can create a public URL, and then with this public URL, create a QR code so that anyone who scans your QR code would then open up the folder and they can see all of your bibliography in a digital format. So that can be pretty useful as well. Let's go to actually creating a bibliography. There are two main ways of creating a bibliography. If you just wanted to create a bibliography separate from your documents, you can either select individual articles and create bibliography. And it is going to go ahead and create it from here. It defaults to the format of the last citation style that you have used, but you can always change it by clicking on this drop-down menu. And as you can see here, Refworks does have access to over 6,000 different types of citation styles. So say, for example, I wanted to use APA style. It's just a matter of clicking on the different styles and it automatically updates like that. Part of the really great thing about Refworks, though, is the ability to do in-text citations. So I have here, this is Google Docs. Refworks is compatible with both Microsoft Word and Google Docs. This is a fairly randomly generated bit of text, and To open up Refworks, you would go to add-ons, and the first time you do have to click on get add-ons, but as you can see, I already have it here. So I'm going to go ahead and open up it. And as you can see here, so this is Refworks. It does default to showing all references in a very long list here. So this is where having all of your folders comes into play. So I'm just going to click on my examples folder. And one thing to keep in mind is that your in-text citation will be inserted wherever your cursor is here. So I'm going to say that I want to cite this first sentence, click on cite this, and it automatically generates both my in-text citation and my bibliography at the bottom. So that's it. It's literally just that easy. So I'm going to show you, and that was just to cite this. If you wanted to preview how it was, make sure it looks all good, or maybe you wanted to change citation style, you can do that here. Let's go to APA. I'm going to update it. And now it gives you a preview of in-text citation and what the bibliography will look like. And if you noticed, it has automatically changed my first citation as well. So this formatting means that it is working. Okay, and just for a matter of time, this, as you can see, is Microsoft Word. Now, with the different editions of Microsoft Word, there are different installations you can do. The recommended one, which works on Microsoft 2010, I think, and later, is the Citation Manager, which is very similar in style to what we saw with Google Docs, as you can see. And I'm just going to have sentence 1, citation, sentence 2, citation. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what this looks like. And as you can see, it's very similar. The default is all references, but I'm going to go back to my example. Make sure my cursor is in the correct spot, and I'm going to add cite this. Now, one difference, as you can see here, is right now I only have my in-text citation. I'm just going to go ahead and add my second one. When you are in Microsoft Word, the default for bibliography is actually off. So by clicking on this menu bar, you can go ahead and turn it on. The reference bar is automatically generated at the bottom of your paper. If you wanted to do footnotes, you can do that. You just have to select the style, and you can do that by selecting, I believe it's under documents and references. If you wanted to change the citation style you're using, again, you can do so by clicking on the menu bar, clicking on citation style, and I am going to change this back to APA, and then I would click update. And as you can see, my in-text citations have changed, as well as my bibliography. Now, notice that it is not perfect. For example, the 7 myths about physical therapy. I believe this should actually be a comma, not a period. So this technology is wonderful, but it is not perfect. So I always recommend that you watch what is happening as you're doing it, because if you correct it as you are writing, it's much, or even as you're importing, it's much easier correcting it first as you're doing it than having to go back and read through your entire paper and manually do all this type of stuff. Okay, so that is the Intext Citation Manager for, that's the live demo for it. Let's see, to actually install it, You can also, this is back in Refworks. So, and if you're going back to home, let me just show you how you download it. You would go to Tools and Tools again, and then just down here below the Save to Refworks bookmark here, you can select the type of in-text citation that you would want to download, as well as if you're Windows, if you're Mac, and if you notice, it also took you into, there was a Google Docs. You can also download it like that. Other things that I would like to share is that in Refworks itself, you can customize how this looks. For example, you can see that here we have all these tags. Some people like this, some people find that really annoying. You can filter so that you can only see how you would like to see it. Let's see, I think that's a basic introduction to Refworks in about 20 minutes. Does anyone have any questions about Refworks? I know I went over that very quickly. Would anyone like to see anything else, like some more in-text citations on Google Docs or in Microsoft Word? One advantage, again, with Google Docs is that if you're working on a group project, everyone can be writing, and if you have access to the same folder, you can be entering the same citations. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen to see if there are any questions. Okay, no questions. Oops. I'm going to go back in that case to...
Megan, there is a question.
Great, what's the question?
Greg says, I'm new to Refworks. Can you get an individual subscription, or does it have to come through an institution?
That's a great question, Greg. I believe the answer is that you can get an individual subscription to Refworks. However, my expertise is with an institutional license. So it's a bit of a guess, but if I had to guess, I would say yes, you can definitely get an individual account. Thanks for the question, Greg.
Yes, you can get an individual account.
Thank you, Katie, for backing me up on that.
You're very welcome.
Okay. Interested in more training for Refworks? Say, for example, you want a deeper dive into Refworks. Refworks actually has their own YouTube channel in which they show you all the nitty-gritty, everything you want to know training channel. So I would recommend you go to the Refworks training channel. If you do have an account, by the way, you can also access that by clicking on this Get Help button. And if you click on video tutorials, it will take you also straight there. And in general, this is just their troubleshoot, contact support, etc. Okay. Well, thank you everyone for coming today to this session from Scholarly Snippets. I appreciate your coming, and I hope you learned something.